U.S. intelligence says that Putin is considering using nukes to end the war in Ukraine. I'll give you that info here in this video. Also, Putin now concerned about his own safety, former ambassador says. Yeah, so now Putin might be starting to wonder, is Zelensky right? Remember that Ukrainian President Zelensky said that he thought the end of Putin would come from his own inner circle and the Russian elites would off Putin. And that's how the war might end and how Putin's end would come. Take a listen to this. Former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, John Sullivan, says that Russian President Vladimir Putin is concerned about his own safety as his lifestyle is being impacted by the ongoing war in Ukraine. When asked on whether he thinks Russia's leader's lifestyle has been affected by the war, and that Putin is now living with his girlfriend at a luxury estate outside of Moscow. And his luxurious lifestyle has been questioned by some, given the heavy sanctions that the West imposed on Russia. Apparently, Putin, quote, can't travel by air anywhere close to southwestern Russia. In getting to Sochi, for example, one of his most favorite places to go. He can't travel there by air. He's now traveling more by train. He's concerned about his own safety. As for economic impacts, if the question is more about supporting his lavish lifestyle, I don't think that's much of a concern as concerned about his own safety. And Putin is apparently living with his girlfriend at an estate he owns at Lake Valdai, which is located 400 kilometers northwest of Moscow and spans across 13,000 square feet, according to WION News, and children have been spotted near the premises. Interesting. So apparently Putin's whereabouts might be known, and apparently he's afraid to travel by plane at least sometimes. Also, Russia has upped the ante in one of their latest attacks with hypersonic missiles faster than the speed of sound. Take a listen to this.
But Kyiv says Russia did something new. It fired different types of missiles and drones at the same time, including some missiles that Ukraine can't shoot down, such as Russia's hypersonic Kinzhal weapon.
Ukraine is now saying that Russia's use of hypersonic missiles are evading Ukraine's defense systems. An advisor to Zelensky put it this way about the defense systems. They say they are not coping well enough. What do you make of that? How big of a problem is that?
Oh, Kate, I think it's a huge problem because, the systems that we've designed are not good at all against hypersonics. And, part of the big problem that we have is not only does that impact the Ukrainians who are directly involved in this war, of course, but it also impacts us. We really have to get ahead of ourselves here with developments that would allow us to better track and better take care of hypersonic weapons. And that's a very difficult thing given the fact that they travel at a minimum 5 times the speed of sound. So this is a critical component for us, for the Ukrainians.
Let's bring in now Mark Esper, the former defense secretary under President Donald Trump. Thank you for joining us, sir. The Ukrainian energy minister says that Russia used they're using a new tactic in this very large-scale offensive against Ukrainians. What did this tell you about the strategy right now? When they're doing all of these cities, they seem to be bombarding them. The strategy seems to be ramping up.
Well, the sense is what was that the attack in the last 24, 48 hours was retribution for an attack allegedly committed by the Ukrainians within Russia. And so the Kremlin's response was to hit them hard with 95-plus missiles, to use a range of ballistic missiles, hypersonics, cruise, drones. And what you find out when you dig a little bit deeper is that they're actually using air defense missiles and anti-ship missiles to attack Ukraine's infrastructure. And it tells you that their stocks seem to be fairly depleted. Now, kudos to the Ukrainians. It looks like their energy infrastructure is back online today. And it just shows you the resilience of the Ukrainian people when it comes to these unwarranted attacks on their infrastructure.
But when it comes to these hypersonic missiles that they're using, they used, I think it's 6 so far in this latest attack. They have barely used anything like that in the entire last year. So what does it say to you that they're ramping up hypersonic missiles? But also the concern, as we were talking to John Kirby yesterday, Ukraine has nothing that can knock those out of the sky.
Right. Look, they're very hard to defeat. They travel at 5 times the speed of sound, up to 10 times the speed of sound. Very difficult to knock out of the air. It's a challenge that we in the United States military were looking at as well, because we know that China is also developing hypersonic weapons. So it's going to remain a challenge. The fact that they haven't used more of them is surprising. But this, again, calls for the need to Ukraine to get the air defenses it needs. I don't think they still have Patriot air defense systems. Not that Patriot could defeat hypersonics, but still, there's much more we need to give and provide the Ukrainians in order to beat back the Russian assaults.
Yeah.
Would that be problematic, though, for America, for NATO? By giving them that, won't they, I guess, well, Putin will see it as any act of aggression. Anything that NATO does is an act of aggression anyway.
Well, we've already committed to providing Patriot. We actually have Ukrainian soldiers reportedly in Oklahoma training on the system. But it takes time to train. It takes time to deliver the systems. Another European ally is providing systems as well. But again, these were things that the Ukrainians were asking for months and months ago. And it's a shame that they don't have them yet. Same goes for tanks and F-16s.
But on the F-16s, I'm fascinated by this because we are seeing a real split between the U.S. and Ukraine on this. Because President Biden is saying they've done the assessment. They don't think Ukraine needs them. Zelensky's telling Wolf they could be make or break to the outcome of the war, that they at least want to have the Ukrainian pilots training on them. Is it a mistake for the U.S. not to do it, in your view?
Well, sure it is. President Biden said a few weeks ago, no, 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 no. We now understand that Ukrainian pilots are being evaluated here in the United States to do so. There were also reports coming out of the Munich Security Conference that the United States top general in Europe, Chris Cavoli, Supreme Allied Commander, told lawmakers that, yes, F-16s would make a difference for the Ukrainians. And it's obvious. They need a platform to conduct strikes against Russian elements in Ukraine. It would very much help with a Ukrainian counteroffensive that hopefully will be launched sometime in the coming months. But sure, they need advanced fighter aircraft.
Yeah, so the question here is, will Putin get offed by his own people, or will he continue to slog on in Ukraine? In fact, U.S. intelligence says, as you can see here, Vladimir Putin can use nuclear weapon to end Ukraine war, according to new U.S. intel, saying here, the intelligence community of the United States believes that Russian President Vladimir Putin can use nuclear weapons to end the Ukraine war. The annual threat assessment report added that Putin may also drag the U.S.-led West to the Ukraine war in an effort to win backup public support. Putin's escalation may also delve from the larger opinion that the United States is using Ukraine as a proxy to weaken Russia, which they have done, and it's significantly weakened Russia. Adding that the narrative around Ukraine's military success is only as a result of U.S. and NATO intervention and could presage further Russian escalation. The U.S. intelligence community asserted that the Ukraine war is reshaping the geopolitical dynamics and the equations of China and Russia with the West and are also going through a change. But here's the thing. We didn't ask Russia to invade Ukraine. Russia did that. And, Russia just got, they just got laughed off the stage here by saying that Ukraine started this war and that Russia wants to end the war, but they're sending 300 to 500,000 new troops into Ukraine right now. If they wanted to end the war, they could just leave. But of course, we all know that's BS, right? And they want to take over like 20%, thousands and thousands of miles of Ukraine, just like they took over Crimea, just like they want to take over Moldova, just like they want to take over Belarus, because they basically want to take over all these countries, take over all their resources, take over all their minerals, take over all their gas, their natural gas, and take over their people as well, take over their tax money, take over everything. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So this is what Hitler did. So, I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts here But nobody asked Russia to do this. So, I mean, to blame this on the U.S. is ridiculous, because the rest of the world is helping a country that's being invaded from the invader. So Russia could just stop trying to invade another country. Remember, they also did this to Crimea, and they've also accidentally leaked plans that they want to do this to Moldova, and also incorporate Belarus. They want to take over Belarus as well. So if they just stop taking over and invading other countries, then this wouldn't have happened. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. If you appreciate these videos, don't forget to hit the like button for us. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the subscribe button and then the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. Here's what President Biden just said about fixing Social Security and Medicare. And here's what the Fed just said as a warning to millions of low-income and middle-income Americans. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.